So you were a maritime officer, and now you launch, you're a social entrepreneur, you launch one of the most innovative social environmental venture, which is Plastic Odyssey. Could you tell us more about Plastic Odyssey, please?
So the idea with Plastic Odyssey is to make affordable solution to improve waste management in the most touched countries by this pollution, plastic pollution. So act on land, in cities, to prevent the plastic flowing into the ocean. Because what we've noticed is that there is only few plastic waste floating at the surface. So we are talking about garbage patch and everything, but it's only less than 1% of the plastic that is in the ocean. So what we wanted to do was to provide solutions that are on land to turn off the tap of plastic pollution. And we embark all these solutions on a boat, on a research vessel that will go around the world to promote and share all these solutions everywhere. That's the idea.
And you just say share. So what is the model? You really share?
Yeah, so the idea is to make open source solution. That's our core value. Let's say, so beginning with plastic sorting, how we can differentiate the different types of plastic, then recycling, make new objects out of plastic, and then eventually turning plastic that is the plastic that are not recyclable into fuel. So just taking all the different solutions that we can have from waste, from a bunch of waste, just make resources from local communities. That's the idea.
Thank you, more exciting. So, Patricia, now let's maybe talk a little more about the ocean.
Sure, as Patricia was saying, plastic is the most, let's say, visible and known pollution, but that's actually not the worst. And we always forget to talk about pollutants, different pollutants that we put, but also fertilizers from the agriculture. When we put all these nutrients into the ocean, the thing is, it triggers a bloom, massive bloom of life, of algae usually, and just rob the oxygen, so it creates then dead zones and destroy biodiversity. So they are very hidden pollution that we always forget. But coming back to plastic pollution, it's also the same actually. We think it's visible, but it's only a tiny fraction of the problem. As I was saying, there is only 1% of the plastic that is found when we collect, and when we try to count how much plastic there is at the surface, we only find 1%, something like that. And it's actually called the mystery of plastic, because today scientists don't know where is all this plastic that we've been putting in the ocean ever since. It's roughly 80 million tons of plastic that we've put so far, and most of them are just on the bottom of the ocean. So when the plastic enters the sea, it just sinks on the bottom because it's heavier than water usually, and some of them are floating, but then soon they are degrading into microparticles and then nanoparticles, and then enter the food chain. And so there is a recent study saying that we eat every week 5 grams, you might have heard of that, 5 grams of plastic. So that's quite frightening. We don't ever see that because we breathe plastic, we eat plastic, we drink plastic. It's everywhere. And to give you a funny story, we heard about an expedition in Austria led by the Walter Munk Foundation. It's quite interesting because they've been analyzing the water coming out of rocks, so on the bottom of a lake in Austria, so in the Alps, and they found nanoplastic. The water had been filtered by the rocks in the middle of the mountains, and still there are nanoplastics in the water. So just to give you the idea that collecting plastic is impossible. Even the rocks can't do it. So the only reasonable thing that we need to do is just preserve, stop putting more plastic, stop putting more pollution, and just letting the nature recover the biodiversity coming back. And that's, I think, when you let the nature alone, let's say, when and you don't harm the nature, then it recovers quite easily. And there are also other pollutions, because I used to be a merchant navy officer, so I was working on big container ships, cruise ships, and there are also quite a lot of pollutions linked to that. 90% of the goods that we consume, whether textiles, everything, are transported by vessels, by the maritime ways. And the thing is, these vessels use heavy fuel, so it's like the worst fuel you can have. And thanks to regulations, now it's getting better. And beginning on January this year, the sulfur in the fuel has been banned, reduced. So ship owners have to put scrubbers, so that's systems that just showers the exhaust gas. You just put water, rain at the exhaust pipe, and then you clean the gas from sulfur. But usually what you do with the water, it's in open loop, so you take the pollutant from the exhaust gas and then you put it back in the sea. That's crazy, and this is what it's doing now. What we are doing. So we need to push for closed loop system at least. That's one big thing. And there is also invasive species that are also quite regulated in the shipping industry. We have ballast water, so water that are used for stability in the ships. And the thing is, and fooling as well, it transports invasive species. It's also the same problem with microplastics that act as a raft, just taking all the bacteria and pollutants, absorbing everything and just transporting everywhere. So all these invasive species are transported by ballast water or by microplastics, and this is all invisible. So that's also challenging. And the last one I wanted to talk about is noise pollution. Because, of course, when you have such a big vessel, you have a big propeller, and you create a lot of noise. And this is also quite harmful for the marine life. So this is all the different pollutions that we know today. Ship owners are doing the best to prevent, but there's more, as we saw, to do, especially on invisible pollutions or that are not released in the media.
There's another